So I wanted to talk today about something a little bit different. So there's a lot of series out there that tend to get a lot of attention. I see a lot of people talking about One Piece all the time, obviously, because it's the #1 selling manga of all time. Dragon Ball, a lot of shonen stuff. So today I want to talk about 5 manga that you should definitely check out that deserve more recognition within the community. So #1 on the list might be a little bit controversial because some of you will definitely have heard of this, whereas hear me out, there is a reasoning for why I picked this, and it is Pluto by Naoki Urasawa. So a lot of people might hear about Monster, Master Keaton, but Pluto is just above and beyond for me. So I'm a huge fan of sci-fi. I really love sci-fi inspired things. So I'm a big fan of Star Wars and Blade Runner, and this to me feels like Blade Runner the manga. So it's based off the godfather of manga's original work, Astro Boy. So if you don't know, the godfather of manga is Osamu Tezuka. He was one of the very first, if not the first, I think, to create manga within Japan, not long after the Second World War. So he's a huge influence on the community, and a lot of manga works since Osamu Tezuka have been heavily inspired by a lot of his ideas. So Astro Boy was a really popular series back in the day. I couldn't tell you when. And this is a reimagining of one of the particular arcs of Astro Boy. So it follows a set of murders. There's quite a few robots within this world that are being murdered by an unknown entity, and this detective has got to figure out why. But he is also a robot himself. So it deals with a lot of topics such as morality, humanity, and it's just a fantastic read. It's very short. There's only a few volumes, and it's a lot less to dive into, in my opinion, than Monster. Although they are both great series, I love them both. If you're going to check out one Naoki Urasawa, and you might kill me for saying this, I would go with Pluto. So #2 on the list, I've got Ajin, Demihuman. So this is a series that I literally hear no one talking about. As seinen goes, I understand there's quite a lot more out there that you could definitely get into, like Berserk and Vinland Saga, and I hear these thrown around all the time, but Ajin Demihuman is actually really, really awesome. So it follows a guy who is actually an immortal or a demihuman, and he cannot die. And you would think that this would make him a superhero as part of, some grander scheme of things, but it's not. So the government and society want to hunt him down and do experiments on him, and it's really, really grim. The character designs are absolutely fantastic in this series. They're just so different. The action scenes just look so well drawn and choreographed, and I just can't recommend this enough. And these releases from Vertical, although they're really thin and they're really small, they're such high quality. I love them. They've got some colour pages in the front. All the spines are nicely coloured, and they're just brilliant, and they're not that expensive. I mean, they're more expensive than standard volumes of manga, but this definitely deserves more recognition. So if you can find it online, or better yet, if you can support the author and buy it, I would definitely check this out. So that's Ajin Demihuman. So #3 is one of my favourite series of all time, and it's finally getting an anime this year. I believe it's this year or maybe next year. So if you can guess what that is, it's Dorohedoro. So some of you might have heard of this. I'd never heard of this until last year, maybe. I found it in my local comic book store. And it's absolutely phenomenal. It's not like anything I've ever read before, so it's set between these worlds. So there's some world that's known as the Whole, and there's another world which I can't remember what it's called, but there's humans and sorcerers will visit the Whole to do experiments on the humans. So they're testing out their magic, they're seeing whether the skills that they've acquired can be used on enemies, and what better test subject than humans. So there's a human that he's been turned into a lizard beast. Bear with me, it's so awesome. He doesn't know who he used to be, he doesn't know who did this to him, and he doesn't know what he used to look like. So him and his friend are on a journey to find the sorcerer that did this to him and get him turned back to a human. So it sounds pretty basic, This, I cannot show you this, I'll put some scans up here next to me. It's quite graphic in parts. The character designs are really weird, but bear with it, it's absolutely really awesome. And the reason that I think this doesn't get recognition is just it fell under a lot of people's radar. I hadn't heard of it myself, and I'm really big in this community. I read a lot about different series that I might enjoy, and I just spotted it on a whim in my comic book store. All the spines have really nice different colours that line up. And yeah, it just drew my attention, and because it comes in cling film, because of the graphic content, I couldn't just pick it up and skim through it. So I thought I'd check it out online, I'd look at some scans, which I definitely advise you do if you're over the age of 16. I mean, use parental advisory thingamabobs and decide for yourself, but yeah, I definitely check out Dorohedoro. So number 4 is actually a shonen series. So I know what you're thinking, shonen gets a lot of recognition, and you probably will have definitely heard of this one, but I don't think a lot of you will actually have read it, and that is Black Clover. So I've been reading shonen for a long time, like many years. As you can see, I have a lot of shonen. The vast majority of my collection is actually shonen. It's only till recently that I've started branching out, and although Black Clover gets a lot of hate, if you give it a chance, it's actually really good. So it's full of stereotypes. It follows this young boy called Asta who lives in a world of wizards, and he's the only wizard who doesn't actually have any magical powers, but he wants to become the Wizard King. So I know what you're thinking, sounds a lot like Naruto wants to be Hokage, Luffy wants to get the One Piece. Like all of these shonens have got to have some sort of higher goal, and I know what you mean, it is very stereotypical, but it just has something about it that keeps bringing me back in. The characters are all really interesting, they're all really funny. The art style is some of my favourite in all of shonen that I've ever read, so if you're just going to read it for the art alone, it's absolutely fantastic. And I read a lot of things, like people hype up My Hero Academia a lot, and I do like My Hero Academia. I've watched it, I've read it, I think it's really good, but don't hate me for this. I love Black Clover more than My Hero Academia. That's how much I love Black Clover. So if you just do what I did, just pick up a few books, like get 3 or 4 in a row, binge read the hell out of them, and you won't regret it. Or if you're just going to go online, I think Shonen Jump now do a subscription service, or they used to, but it's now much better, and they have all the back catalogue of stuff, and I'm pretty sure Black Clover's on there. So if you prefer to read online, you can subscribe to Shonen Jump and read through their app. So there's no excuse really, you should definitely check out Black Clover. It's just so great, so don't miss out. The last one on the list is pretty different, so I understand if it's not for everyone, and that's The Girl from the Other Side. So this is a series that I found completely out of nowhere, and I definitely think that more people should read it if just to have an opinion on it. So I don't think enough people are talking about The Girl from the Other Side. So it follows a young girl and a demon who live on opposite sides of this world, and they should never have met, because they're kind of not supposed to be friends, and they do meet, they do become friends, and everything else that follows feels like one huge kind of, not even a metaphor, just one sort of commentary on society and sort of judging people for being different, etc. It's all really different, it's all quite thought-provoking, and it's something that I haven't really read much of. So I'll be honest, I've read 3 of these, I have loved all of them, but I would be interested to see if it picks up or if it goes downhill. So this is a bit of a wildcard recommendation. I just want to see more people talking about this series because I've really enjoyed it so far. I know a few people haven't, but it's just not very prevalent within the community, and I'm tired of seeing a lot of people talking about the same stuff like over and over again. So maybe branch out a little bit, pick something up on the shelf in your bookstore that looks a little bit different. And yeah, I think the art style for this is very strange, but in a good way. Like, it's more like a westernized manga. which might not be for everyone, but I really enjoyed this. So yeah, that's my last recommendation, The Girl from the Other Side. So thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's anything that you'd like me to cover in some of these videos, then be sure to comment below. And yeah, thanks for being on this journey with me. I really appreciate all of your support. Every comment, every like, every follow on Twitter or Instagram, it's all just a massive help. And some of you that are already within the community have all been really supportive. So thanks so much for all your help, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.